in the dwelling.
Meanwhile, 2 attorneys were granted access to the detainees today. The police allowed George Souter and Tom Tavares Vincent to visit over 261 persons who have been detained in the ongoing operation in Western Kingston. In a statement, both men said the basic needs of the detainees appear to have been addressed by the authorities and their processing has begun. However, the attorneys are deeply concerned that at least 17 juveniles are being kept in the general population of detainees and are equally concerned that a number of detainees are either injured or in need of medical assistance. They raised these issues with the Security Minister and the Police Commissioner, who have assured them that they will be addressed immediately. The attorneys are requesting humanitarian intervention from the relevant organizations to assist in meeting the basic amenities which the police are unable to provide.
There's a staff shortage at the Kingston Public Hospital. Amidst concerns that staff aren't being properly protected in the war zone that they work, many failed to show up today. The Health Minister shed some light on the situation at a Jamaica House press briefing this morning. Archibald Gordon reports.
Surrounded by violence and the constant sound of gunfire and trauma cases, it's no secret that the island's biggest hospital has been buckling under the pressure. To make matters worse, up to yesterday, there was no clear provision for the medical staff to get to and from the facility, which is located in a dangerous area. Last night, the Medical Doctors Association's president told us the situation was untenable, and we heard from staff members who were seen walking to a bus stop in the midst of the volatility. Today, the Southeast Regional Health Authority said these women are employed to a firm contracted by the hospital and that it is not responsible for their transportation needs. However, medical staff are still concerned, and only about half the staff at KPH and Victoria Jubilee hospitals showed up for work.
Accident and emergency, we had 5 doctors yesterday. It is normal to have around 50. Surgeons, we had only 2. Registered nurses, we had 60. The normal amount is 103. At Victoria Jubilee, we had 5 doctors. The normal amount is 7. Registered nurses at Victoria Jubilee represent 10. The normal amount is 51. Enrolled nurses, we had 4. The normal amount is 17.
The health minister said this has meant serious deficiencies in some areas, including surgeries, and given the unrest in Kingston, there's been a steady stream of casualties heading into the KPH.
KPH saw some 13 gunshot wounds, of which 10 were male and 3 female up to yesterday. 1 was a member of the security force and 12 were civilians. Of these, there were 9 admissions and 4 patients were treated and discharged home. 1 surgical procedure was completed and others are pending. 42 civilian males were brought in dead.
Meanwhile, the health minister said Andrews Memorial and the University Hospital have agreed to accept women in labor, while discussions are being held with administrators at not all hospitals to help out. The health minister also appealed for Jamaicans to donate blood, noting a peak in demand because of the violence. However, he still did not outline what specific provisions are being made to get staff to and from the KPH. Archibald Gordon, TVJ News.
And the opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Fenton Ferguson, is also expressing concern about the provisions being made for those who are dealing with the trauma cases at the health facilities in Kingston.
The opposition spokesman said he visited several healthcare facilities across the corporate area today. KPH wasn't among them because of security concerns. However, that didn't stop him from speaking out about the situation there. Dr. Ferguson said he's deeply concerned that not much is being done to ensure the safety of medical workers, especially those downtown.
But we are deeply concerned about the security arrangements, especially at the KPH, because we want to know that the doctors who are at least going beyond the call of duty must be guaranteed safety, either leaving or coming to the hospital. And so we're calling again on the Minister of National Security to ensure that the discussion with himself and the Minister of Health will lead to proper protection of those persons.
He added that also of concern to the opposition was the apparent non-payment of salaries to health workers of the Southeastern Regional Health Authority.
Persons make arrangement with their families, in terms of their food arrangement. People have standing orders with banks. They don't want to run into this kind of additional problem when you are there giving 36 and more hours of service.
He called on the Ministers of Health and National Security to engage in talks towards finding a speedy solution to the immediate concerns of the health workers. Latoya Spence, TVJ News.
The new police post, which was established near Salt Spring, St. James, after 5 people were killed there several weeks ago, has been firebombed. The attack appears to have been carried out sometime yesterday. One person sustained minor injuries, and the incident has driven even more fear into the residents. Latoya Johnson reports.
The decision to establish the post followed the killing of 5 people in Salt Spring last month. National Security Minister Dwight Nelson had made the announcement in the aftermath of the violent slayings. But the post had not yet been occupied when it was firebombed yesterday. The commanding officer for St. James, the Superintendent Merrick Watson, says work was still being done on the facility. He says in yesterday's attack on the unoccupied building, the thugs set fire to mattresses, destroyed doors and lit drapes. A workman sustained burn injuries to his hand. The superintendent says patrols have since been beefed up and work continues on the facility. The pungent smell of smoke greeted us upon our arrival at the facility this afternoon. But despite the attack, Superintendent Merrick Watson says this will not be a deterrent to them. He says work continues in earnest, and within days, the facility will be manned by his officers. Superintendent Watson notes that while the damage is significant, it will not deter the police from making their presence felt in the crime-ridden Salt Spring area.
The fact is that since we expressed an interest in this place, we've been getting threats that persons not wanting the police to occupy the space of the criminals would firebomb the place. And so we've been paying special attention to it. Luckily, the officers who worked this area were not too far off, so they were able to respond within minutes and to get the fire brigade here with the assistance, certainly, of the police and other persons to put the blaze out.
He says the location is ideal for his team to effectively police the area, as it will allow them to respond to most incidents within 5 minutes. He has this message for the criminals.
We are doing some work on it now. We're doing some cleaning up, and within a matter of days, it will be manned. So there's just no turning back. It is a done deal. It's going to happen, and the criminal elements get used to it. And to the people that we will be serving in this area, expect us to be there with you, working with you, to help you to reduce the incidence of crime within these areas.
In the meantime, with threats levied against the police in St. James yesterday, the superintendent says the officers now have their guards up at all times. However, he notes that they are feeling the strain.
As police officers, we know that, it's a tedious job, it's a dangerous job, and so we're constantly required to be on the alert. But with the recent threats that we've been receiving, we're constantly on the alert. We cannot let our guards down. We don't have the luxury of even relaxing for a moment. We have to be constantly on top of the whole situation.
Superintendent Watson says by Monday, a 30-man team will begin operating from the new police post, even while work continues on the actual building. Latoya Johnson, TVJ News.
And 10 men